Hey everybody, it's me, Jesse, and today we're going to continue on with our admin panel project. I think we're going to do some GraphQL mutations today for deleting things. So we already are able to create and edit. Now we're going to delete. Okay, so deleting's pretty simple compared to editing. I would say of the three, editing is the trickiest because we have to get the data first and then edit it and submit the data. But deleting is still important to be able to do. So let's add that in. And we're going to have to add in a little bit of UI here because I don't have designs for a delete button. So we'll just put in the designs, however we think is whatever looks good. So probably just start out with a button that says delete. If we have time, maybe we'll put an icon in or something like that. But let's see. Let me make this bigger for you all. It's probably way too small. All right, that should be good. All right, so I'm in the edit screen. Let's get out of the edit screen and let's go to see where we want to put this delete button at. Let me pull over our project and let's see. I want to delete the ad set first. So we can see on this screen a bunch of ad sets. I'm thinking maybe right next to the edit button, we'll just put a delete button in here. I think that'll be a good spot. We could put delete buttons elsewhere, but I think right here that'll be a pretty good spot. We don't have, let's see, so we're already getting the title and the message, and we're passing that in. So we may already, basically all we need for delete GraphQL mutation is the ID and the version. So I think we're already passing in the ID. We're going to have to get the version and pass that into this component. Once we do that, we'll have everything that we need to actually implement the delete button. All right, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this over to my other screen because we won't need to see it for a little bit. Let's see. Let's find this component. I believe it is ad set component. Okay. So let's verify what we're getting. So we are getting the ID, but we still need to get the version. All right, so this is the component where we're actually getting the data and passing it down. So we're not pulling in the version yet. So we could see this is our GraphQL query. This is all the data that we're getting. So we're getting a business profile, and then we're getting all the advertisements that are associated with this business profile. And for each advertisement, we're getting this data. So if I want to get the version, I have to say version. Now for each advertisement, we will get the version in addition to the rest of this data. Down here, a little further down on our component, we're passing that data into our ad set component, okay, which we have on the right-hand side of the screen. And let's add version into here and say add dot version. Okay, so this is just a filter and a map. All right, so for all the advertisements, we want to filter and only get the ads that aren't marked as deleted. Right, so in our DynamoDB database, if something is deleted, it stays in the database, but the underscore deleted field is then marked as true. So we can restore an item if it had been deleted. It's not gone forever. All right, but that does mean we need to filter out any deleted items because we'll get those when we make our call. We could probably do this filtering elsewhere, but for now I just did it here, right here in the JavaScript. And then we're just mapping over that data. All right, so for each ad, we pass in this data. I'm going to save that, and then let's go over to this component and let's add in version. I wonder what version comes in as, if it's a string or a number. Let's see if it says it in our schema. I don't think it does. Okay. Let's just call it a string for now. Because I don't remember if it, I mean, it does come through. It looks like a number, but I don't know how it's formatted. All right, so we have that there. We'll add it into our props as well. So we're using TypeScript. So this is our TypeScript interface where we're just saying, hey, we're going to expect to get a prop called version, and it's going to be a string. All right, then we're going to put version up here, and that way we can use version. Oops, forgot this. That way we can use version in our component. We're going to import it as a prop. And let's find out where we have that button, that edit button. Here we have the edit button. Let's just copy the button. And we'll paste it in here. And where's our... We'll just add in delete. And then the style here is... I wonder if there's a style for buttons. Let's see if we can get the button API. There we are. Let's check the button API. So we're going to open this, and I'll pull this over. Let's see how we change the color of the button. So this is Material UI. That's what we're using for our UI. We can do a different color. So default is the default. We can give it primary or secondary. I was actually thinking of making it like red, since it's going to be deleting. So we may just have to do outline contain. I do want it to be a different color. Let's just make it maybe secondary. Let's see what our secondary color is. I'm not sure what that'll be. We have an edit icon. I'm gonna get rid of the icon for now. Let's just comment it out, and then maybe we can add in a different icon later on. All right, let's bring our I'm gonna bring up our project. All right, cool. Hey, that actually works. So it's not exactly red. It's more of like slightly pink, but I think that works. All right, cool. I'm going to leave this on this screen now so we can test it in a minute. But we have our button now in the UI, and we have the data that we need. So now we're going to make our function. So right now, we don't really have any functions in this component, but we're going to make a function. We're just going to call it delete. And I'm going to make it async. And inside, we're going to do a try catch. Okay, so we're going to console log the error. So whatever we do inside this try, if it throws an error, we're going to catch that error here, and we're going to console log it. So we are going to use a GraphQL query. So, or I'm sorry, a GraphQL mutation. And I'm going to look over here to see where we go for this. We're going to need to pull a few things over. So we don't need GQL. You know what, it might be easier to go to, let's see. There we are. Yeah. We need the API from AWS Amplify, and we need to bring over mutations. And let's bring this over as well. You get the correct type. All right, so we have the API. Let's see if we can grab delete. And this would be delete advertisement. And then let's see if we can get delete advertisement input. Delete advertisement mutation. Maybe that's what we'll need. I mean, we don't necessarily have to use the types here, but it'd be cool if we use it. And let's check my stream. If anybody's watching and has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. All right. So now that we have what we need, we can create this. So on my other screen, I have an example of where I did this in a different component. So I'm going to copy and paste it just to save a little bit of time. Delete advertisement. And we'll have the ID, which we already have, and then version, which we have here. All right. And let's see. We probably want to reload after we do this, like reload the page. So if it's successful, then yeah, then we'll want to reload the page. So I'm actually going to add in const. I'm just going to put res for response. And then let's go if response, then let's I wonder how we reload. Let's look up I want to see if there's a way with React Router to reload the page. So on my other screen, I just pulled this up. Oh, okay, cool. We should be able. We're already importing history from React Router, so I think we can say history dot go 0. Okay, and oops, let's go delete add. It's not letting us call use delete. We're gonna say delete add. Okay. Let's check this. So when we run delete add, we're going to delete. If it's successful, we're going to reload the page. Otherwise, we're going to console log the error. And we need to call this function when we press the button down here. So here's our delete button. And let's go delete add. I'm going to save that. Now let's try to delete an add. Let's see. I'm going to try to delete one of these ads down here. Let's bring up our dev tools. We'll bring up our console and we'll try it out. Delete. Cool. It looked like that worked. So it looks like we have less ads than we had before. Cool. All right, so that works. Now, we probably should add in something for the error, right? So if we see, if we try to delete and it doesn't work, we should maybe display an error message. All right, so let's do that. We're going to do this just like we did for some of our previous GraphQL mutations. I'm just going to add in a little piece of state here that is error. Use state. And we're going to set it to false. We're also going to say set state or set error. When we do set error, we're going to set this to false. Let's see. Yeah. That seemed to happen pretty fast, so I'm not going to add a loading indicator, but we might want to add some sort of loading indicator as well. Why is my... My indent is messed up, but when I save, it should fix it. All right, so if there's an error, we want to set error to true. All right, now we can use this piece of state to display a message. So I'm gonna have this message show up right next to the delete button. It's not gonna be like super pretty, but it'll work. Error and typography. There was an error. Please try again. Save that. All right. Well, we could test this out, and let me comment that out. And we should get an error since I commented that out, since we need the version. So let's try to delete this. Oh, there was an error. Please try again. Now, if I save it, hit delete again, takes away the error, and it should delete. Yep. Now that test is deleted. Cool. All right, so that works. We can now delete ad sets. And we also might want to add delete, like a delete button for our business profiles. But the thing is, like, I don't want to do the same thing again on a live stream because that might be a little bit boring. So let's do something different. I can always just copy and paste my code and add in a delete button because it's going to be the same code. We just, instead of delete advertisement, we'll say delete business profile. Okay, so that's no fun to, do that again. So let's commit this. Probably should have made another branch, but I'm gonna go ahead and just commit this on main. And the add delete add ability to delete ad sets. Okay. We're going to push the changes up to GitHub. All right, cool. Now we are ready to look into a different problem. All right, so right now, let's go into an ad set and let's click edit ad set. Now I can edit what's in this ad set, but if you look here, I can't edit this image, right? So let's say I want to change the image. I can't right now. Okay, so let's change that so that we can actually edit this image. The other thing we want to be able to change is being able to remove communities. So that's a little bit more complicated. So we'll start with the easier of the two. The image is going to be easier. Now, the reason you can't edit the image is because as soon as you upload an image, we hide or we don't render the image upload element on the page. All right, so let's go to our edit ad set. And we'll go down to where we're getting this image. Where's the image? In our content form. Okay, so where's the content form? Let's find content form. Index. There we are. So our content form component, right now we're pulling in some data, title, add message, and our cover image. And we're also pulling in the functions to set the ad title, the ad message, and the cover image. Okay, so that's good. We don't need to bring in anything else. But we have here, we say if there is a cover image, then display the cover image. Otherwise, display this image upload. Okay. So we want to change that. And we want to display the cover image and an image uploader. But I don't want to display the full image uploader. So the full image uploader is actually quite large. All right, and it's going to look kind of weird. So what I would rather have, it maybe is just a little image upload button, maybe right below the image to let a user change the image. Abdul's in the chat. He says, hey, it's been a while. Nice to see you again. Oh, awesome. Thanks. Nice to have you watching the stream again. All right, so let's see how we can accomplish this. So the first thing I'm going to do is add in, just going to add in a fragment. So fragment syntax, so that, because we'll get an error if we have more than one child inside of this ternary. And then I'm going to put in, I'm going to just take these two inputs. I'm going to copy and paste them in here. And I'm not going to have the image upload area, because that's what takes up the most space. So I'm going to see what this looks like. Oh, and it goes to the side here. We don't really want it on the side. So let's change this to a div. And let's give it a style of flex direction column. See if that fixes it. There we are. So now we have our image, and then below it, it says select cover image. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, we can select a cover image. Cool. All right, cool. So you can click anywhere on here, and that'll work. Awesome. Now it looks a little bit weird. We could probably have the select cover image text moved over a little bit. Margin. Yeah, if we take away the style here, it should work. So the style for the label. Let's take out the style and see what we have. Yep. There we are. Oh, wow. That's a lot. A lot of change. Let's leave in justify content. Let's say flex start instead. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. All right, so flex start basically aligns everything to the left. Okay, so in this case, it aligns everything to the left. All right, not bad. So now we have the ability to upload a different image. I don't really have another image ready, or else I would test it out, but I'm not going to go through the whole process of downloading another test image. So we already have everything working to upload this image, right? So we have the, when you upload the image, right, it grabs the file, reads the URL, and inputs the file. So, oops, that's somebody calling me. Let's see, a missed call. I'll just have to call him back. All right. Now, again, we could take this now and apply it also to our creation page where we create the ad sets, but I don't want to do the same thing twice on the live stream, so I'll just do that later. And we can commit this change. That was really easy, actually. Hey, John's here. He said forms of all sorts are a test for any developer. That is true. Forms, when you use them online, if you're not a developer, they don't seem like a big deal. But to develop a form is quite tricky. John says, this is for an app only, otherwise a drag and drop for the image. Yeah, a drag and drop for the image might be cool to do. Um, at this point, I think as basically like it is will work. Since it's just going to be basically like one person that I work with would be using this. But it would be cool to add a drag and drop at some point, and it would be really cool to stream that as well. Now we're going to do check our status, make sure that we're committing only what we want to commit. We'll do git commit with the AM flag to add and put a message at the same time. And we're going to say add ability to edit image for ad sets. And we will push that up. Awesome. Oh, also, yesterday's stream ended with me trying to make this project live, uh, like to push the project to AWS. So when I did run the command to push the project, I selected the first option, which was to do it through AWS Amplify, and that didn't work. What I ended up doing is selecting the second option, which was to launch the project using an Amazon S3, which is like a storage bucket. That actually worked. It took a long time to deploy. I want to say like at least 10 minutes. I mean, that might not be that long of a time, but it was at least 10 minutes, which seems like a long time when you're just sitting there waiting to see if it works. But that ended up working. So I did get the project deployed. All right. Next step is to figure out what we're going to do about these communities. Now, this is kind of tricky. Let me show you why this is so tricky. So I guess, first of all, this is a select. And the options for the select we get when you enter in a zip code, it makes a call to an API to bring back, its GraphQL API, to bring back a bunch of data about parishes in that zip code. That fills in this select, which right now there's nothing in the select because we didn't put in a zip code, right? Once you click it, that goes into a piece of state called selected communities, and it's an array of strings, right? The strings are IDs of these communities. Okay, once you actually hit publish or save, first it updates the advertisement, or if we're in the create screen, it creates the advertisement, which is this call. If that call is successful, we take that response and we use the ID of that response here. We take that array of strings, that array of IDs, which is selected communities, and we pass that in. And then we also pass in the start date and end date. I'm not sure why this is necessary for this call, but the engineer who created this Lambda function that we're using made that required, so we actually have to pass that in. So we do that as well. And then in the Lambda function on the back end, it creates each one. It creates a connector between our ad set and our community in the database. So those connectors are all created. When we go to get the data for editing, right, we can see that we have these two items added, but there's no way to remove them. So if I wanted to, I could type in another zip code. Let's type in the famous 90210 and see if it populates. Okay, so we have Beverly Hills, right? Now I can add these, but you can see it's added in. There's no way for me to remove these communities, right? So I think this is my plan. Let me know what you all think. I think what we can do is list somewhere, so not in here, but maybe right below where it says selected communities, we'll just list each community and then have a little X icon or something next to the community so that we could individually delete each community if we wanted to. And then if that community gets deleted, I suppose we would refresh the data. Well, we could refresh the data completely, or we could just remove that particular community locally from the array, from the selected communities array. I suppose it would be more efficient to just remove it locally because it would save us an API call. So maybe that's how we want to do it. Let me know what you think. We don't have to decide yet. We've got a little bit of work to do before we have to make that decision. But for now, what we can do is, well, we need a little bit of work because we need to get the IDs. So we need to get some more data here, because if we want to delete this connector, we need the ID for that connector. So that's going to, let's see where we get it. That's going to require us to get here in these items, not only the community ID, but we need the ID from the connector. And we may need, let's see how we're going to do this. All right, I think I know how we can do this. What we can do is create we can map over all these items. All right, that can give us the ID and the community ID. And then each one of those items will have its own delete function. And the delete function will pass in the ID. And you know what else? We probably need the version if we want to delete it. So each one will have the ID and the delete function for the version. We also need to get deleted, right? Because remember, we'll actually get deleted data, and we need to filter that. So let's add a filter in. Otherwise, we're going to see deleted data. So before we have this map, let's add in dot filter. Okay, and with dot filter, we're going to get this community. Wait, is that it? Community items. And we only want to return the ones that are not deleted. So we're going to filter out anything that's deleted. Now, why are we getting an error there? Unexpected token. All right, let me go back. It should work if I just put the filter back there. Yep. Oh, okay. It just wanted the question mark on this other line here. All right, so we should still see, right? These have not been deleted, so we still see them. All right, it says, John says, that makes sense. It could refresh when the user revisits an edit page, and the delete X would refer to the ID. Exactly. Okay. let's see. Let's make, so this communities is just getting the community ID, and it's making that array of communities with community ID. We need another one, so let's copy this. Do we need to copy this? We don't. Yeah, we don't need to copy that right now. But we need to, down here in our, what's form? Our behavior form, we're passing in selected communities. We need to pass in, let's see. Yeah, actually, we are going to need to make another piece of state here. Or what are we saving this as? Set advertisement. Okay, so we are saving advertisement, so we don't need another piece of state right now. So we'll take advertisement communities. We'll take just this part, and we'll use it here. And we're going to pass this in as, let's just say communities. All right, so in this case, we're going to get all the data for communities. I'm going to save that, and then we're going to need to go to the behavior form. And in our behavior form, we need to say communities, and I'm just going to say any for now. We could make a type and do like a real type for this, but I'm not going to do that right now. I got too much logic in my head. I don't want to lose track of it. So we can add that in later. Let's just do at least the first step and get these communities displaying. So we have our select communities, and let's add in communities.map community, and then inside there we're going to say chip. Should we make it a chip right now or list them out? You know what, let's do for now just a div. Inside the div we'll have, typography, and in the typography it'll be community dot community ID, and then we will have a button, and the button right now I'm just going to put an X in the button, and yeah, we'll leave the button like that for now because we don't have any functions set up to delete that. Well, let's see how that looks. We'll see if it even works, and then we'll see how it looks. Behavior form, communities is missing in type. Yes. I know it was missing, but I fixed it. Let's see if I did it. Communities. Yeah, it should be there now. Oh, I know why. Because we're using behavior form in multiple places. So let me see. Adding a question mark here makes this optional. Is that gonna fix it? Did that not fix it? Yeah, that fixed it. Okay. All right. So we do have our button here that's just an X that needs some work on how it's gonna look. Not great looking, but we have our communities listed here. Okay, so step one completed. Hey, Steven's here. How's it going? Step one completed. We have that listed. I think I would like to have the X on the side though. So let's at least do that. For the div, let's give it a style of. Why is it? Anyway, should be. Flex direction row is default, so let's see if that does it. Or if it's just too long. It might just be too long and it can't fit. That's probably the problem. All right, we'll leave it as is for now, even though it's not ideal. We can fix the styles later. All right, Steven says, good, just making a custom progress bar for a site. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. All right, our next step will be to take this. What are we going to do? We need to say if we're going to, yeah, if we're going to delete this, I guess we could put the delete in this component. Yeah, we could do that. So let's see where we had that delete function. Add set component. Let's just copy our delete function. Let's see. Do we already have mutations? I don't think so. All right, so it's not going to be delete advertisement. It'll be delete advertisements community, or will be delete community advertisement. Maybe that's it. Yeah. It's a community the name of the connector is community advertisement. So that's what we're going to delete. Let's grab, we'll grab this whole thing. And We'll just put it in right here. Delete. Delete community ad. We'll add in an error state as well. And we'll need, for ID, it'll be communities dot ID, and then communities dot underscore version. And there we go, communities. And we need to change this to delete community advertisement. Oh, this needs to be ID equals communities ID, or ID colon communities ID. There we are. And then if it's successful, I don't want to refresh. Let's just console log the results. See what we get back. Actually, don't. We're mapping here. So what we want to do here, we need to pass in some parameters, because we can't just say communities dot ID, right? Because this is communities is an array of objects. So we actually need to pass in the ID and version. If we do that, we can just take this out, say ID and version. But down here, we need to pass in the correct ID and version. So when we say on click, say delete community ad, community.id, and then community.underscore version. All right, now let's test this out. And should be console logging either the error or the success message. So we should be able to see it down here. Cool. So delete community advertisement. And it says deleted equals true. Now the UI hasn't changed at all yet. But if we refresh this page, we should see this, that it's gone. So let's try that. Yep, and that's gone. All right, cool. So deleting that works. Now what we could do, how are we going to do this? I don't really want to refresh the page, because any other edits that have been made might get messed up. But we do need to show the user that, you know, that's been deleted. So let's see how we can do that. The easiest way that I could see is what's displayed is controlled by, let's see. This is going to be tricky. All right, so what's displayed here is going to be a little bit easier than what's displayed here. But I think we can, I think we can get rid of both of them on the screen without refreshing. And we'll do that by getting community, and then I think we can get the index as well. Okay. And let's add in a third parameter that's the index. And this delete community add is also going to have index. And what'll happen is if we get a success, then we're gonna call another function called remove community. That's gonna take the index. All right, and remove community. Remove community is actually going to live in let's see, the parent component. All right, so our parent component is this, what was it? Edit ad set. So in edit ad set, all right, so what we're gonna do is remove from communities. All right, so we need to remove it from both of these. Now, what we did earlier was we added communities here directly. What we're going to do is we're going to make some local state. And in our local state, we're going to have community. So let's copy this and have here oops. Communities. Set communities equals use states. And we'll just type this as any for now. And then down here, we're going to say set communities. And that's where we're going to set our communities. Now, here, instead of all this, we're just going to have communities. This is going to give us the ability to change what's in there. So now we have selected communities, which I believe is a piece of state that lives up here somewhere, and communities. These are both arrays. And because it's an array, we can remove an item from an array. Now let me see what the syntax is. It's funny how you just forget like basic JavaScript syntax. So remove an item from an array JavaScript. On my other screen, let's say index array splice. Okay, so we could use array splice. I think this will work. Let's try it. So we could say set selected communities, and we could say it's going to be selected communities dot splice index 1. So that's going to take selected communities. It's going to remove whatever is at index and just one item at that index. And it's going to return a new array that doesn't contain that particular item. And we should be able to do the same thing here with set communities. Communities dot splice index 1. And we need to pass down remove community. Okay. Let's save that. Let's see what we have. Items does not exist on the type. And set communities. Oh, I just need to ignore that for now. Why is the ignore not working? Okay. Let's see. How do I do? How do I ignore multiple lines? Anybody know how we ignore multiple lines in TypeScript? Let's see if I can put it right here and if it still works. All right, cool. I guess that works. Okay. So when I hit X here, we should immediately see, assuming it's successful, we should immediately see both of these be removed from the screen. All right, that did not happen. Let's make sure it was successful. Yep, it does say deleted true. All right, let's see if we can figure out where it went wrong then. All right, so we are passing set communities. No. Passing communities down. We're passing down remove community. We're passing it down here. Remove community, and we're passing the index. All right, let's add a bunch of communities so that we can do some testing. All right, cool. Let's refresh to verify that that's there. All right, cool. So now we have these. Let's make sure. Let's see if this is even being called and what's being passed there in the index. Whoa. All right, that definitely did something. Interesting. So, pass index 0. It looks like it ran once and it removed something in index 0, but we had a lot more in here. Let's refresh and see. Yeah, we had a lot in here. Let's try this again. I'm interested to see if I do this one, if it's a different. All right, index 4. Wait a second. Let me look back on this and see what splice does. Splice method changes the constant array by removing existing elements and or adding new elements. Oh, I see. Splice creates a new array that contains the removed elements. So that's the wrong one to use. We need to use something else. Let's see. Okay, we could do a filter. We could see if there's another JavaScript array method. Let's pull this over onto the screen here. Let's try to find an array method. JavaScript array. All right, if we want to do it in place, right? So we could take 2 steps and we could do our splice and then return that array, but what we could do instead is say, let's do it like that. So let's say new selected communities equals no, how would we do this one? Selected communities. And then we're going to splice new selected communities. And then we're going to return new selected communities. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll say new communities. All right, let's see if this works now. So what I think this will do is basically we're just copying what's in our state for selected communities and communities. Then we're modifying the array that we've copied, and then we're returning that new array. Whoops, we need to take out this place. All right, we'll see if that works. So St. Paul the Apostle should be gone when we do this. I guess not. Let's. So that didn't work. All right. Let's go back to our array method. Remove items from an index position. See how we did this. Let removed items equals vegetable slice. Yeah, so we should, that should work. This new array should be what we need. Maybe because I made it const, it's not letting me change it. I don't think that should be an issue, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, it should be updating this state. Let's do some console logs. Yeah. So that's working. But for some reason, it's not updating. Why is it not updating? All right, so it looks like what we're doing is updating this, but for some reason it's not giving us, it's not overwriting state. Let's check our state in our component profiler. So this should be edit add set. Let me move this. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, so our state has changed here. And our state changed here. Now let's check our behavior. Find it. Our behavior form. Our props are communities. And selected communities. So our props have changed. Why? That's really weird. We're not, it's not updating. Our state has changed, our props have changed, but for some reason our components aren't changing. It should be changing. John says maybe tie the HTML interface to a ternary for ID. Wonder. All right, let's look into our. Let's remove these console logs. Let's go in here to our behavior form. I mean, what we could try to do is move that to local state. Yeah, it's going to be a little refactor. Actually, I have a meeting in 10 minutes, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that. But basically, our logic is working. It's just not refreshing the page. So we need to figure out how to do that. Which maybe before I refactor, I'll look up why it might be doing that. But basically, the solution I'm thinking of is maybe we can move in that remove prop. Basically, we can have local state here. So we can take communities and selected communities and remove community and then make them all state here. And then we can just use these values as the state, like on mount, basically update the state. And then try to update the state locally in the component. Maybe, I don't know if that'll work, but I'm thinking maybe that would work. It's worth a shot. But if I could get it working as it is right now, I think that might be better. Okay. And I happen to... I'm just going to try one more time. Interesting. Did I not get a success on that? Yeah, I did. It was successful. Interesting. Yep, still not working. All right, I'm gonna have to solve this and maybe give the solution on my next stream. So thank you all so much for watching. Um, I'll be back maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll stream again tomorrow. But until then, have a great day.